Welcome, everyone. We are here. Well, I am here at the tippy top, well, the 19th floor of Mount Manitoba. It is the home, the headquarters of NotInHallOfFame.com. I remember when we sort of got there, the city of Winnipeg said, you know what, we are going to make you an offer and we are going to lure you from Barbados. That's the real reason I moved from Barbados to Winnipeg, just because of the great offer that they gave to me to come and move here. Believe any of that?
Yeah, 100%. I'm also very
100%. I really, really believe that.
If you look up naive in the dictionary, there's an 8x10 glossy of me.
Brad, I told you they took naive out of the dictionary.
Oh, did they? Again?
Yes. Again.
They did that, and then I looked it up, and you said it was an old dictionary.
Yes. Precisely.
What am I watching? Statler and Waldorf here?
It's like a kind of torture to have to watch the show.
You know, that show wasn't all bad. Wasn't half bad. Yeah, it was all bad.
Was all bad.
Either.
Well, let me introduce you to the old Muppets here. That would be Andrea, Tessmann, and Brad Nelson, my cohorts on this show. On this show, among the many things under the banner of Not in Hall of Fame, it is a show called How the Hell Was This a Hit?
How the hell was this a hit?
And that's what we're looking at. And well, Brad, you picked it.
I did, and I honestly thought there was going to be, to overuse one of our phrases, more meat on the bone on this one than there was, and there was not, and I'm sorry. But there's some history which is interesting, so that we've got that at least.
Well, let's look at the band first. Limp Bizkit is one of those bands that I wonder how I would have felt about them if I was younger when they first hit it big. When they hit it big, I would have been 26.
Ooh. I was prime age for this band.
Okay.
They still suck then.
Okay, but
you're not angry in May.
So we'll go. I was 99 when they were the whole. Well, I'm sure we'll get to it later, but the whole.
That was their biggest year.
And I graduated high school in 99. So I was 18. So I was like in my angsty, bitchy late teens. So
digging on Alanis?
Yeah, more no doubt. But you know, some Alanis was good. And you know what? I absolutely screamed along to some Limp Bizkit songs. But I never thought they were good. They were
the
just
drunker you get, the better the songs are.
And yes, and they so for me they were just kind of like prime. They were prime, like screamy. There was a lot of good screamy, angry rap metal though. That was actually better music.
Sure. No one was
Tool,
good.
for example, has its own issues, but in terms of the music and the production quality of their shows at the time, they were good.
I couldn't get into Tool because of the syncopation.
Look at you using big words.
You know, it's just the constant tempo shifts and the weird, like, it didn't do good things to my brain. It made my brain say no. It curled up a little bit.
Well, you didn't have to turn your brain on for Limp Bizkit.
No, this was for the white sunglasses, angry motherfuckers.
You know, it really was. And again, right place, right time, as usually is the case with a lot of this. Rap metal had already been around for a while. I think my first introduction to that would have been Faith No More, at least on a grand scale.
Yeah, but even before then, you've got Run DMC and Aerosmith starting the rap rock thing. And that's what new metal was kind of called to start off with, was sort of rap rock. We were calling it rap rock. And then the term new metal started getting and new as in NU metal started getting thrown around quite a bit. But I think it was Run DMC, hang on in my thing here, Run DMC with a for rap rock, Run DMC with veteran session musician Eddie Martinez doing roots rap.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between what they were doing and the rap metal that was getting into Faith No More. And there was a lot more musicality, a lot more tonality, let's say,
But with that, much the same way that the blues led to rock and roll, I think the rap rock led to the acceptance of new metal.
Yeah, and I mean they were fusing hip hop and metal, and I mean music is a continuously changing, morphing entity.
Yeah.
So sure, but I think I'd more agree with Kirk in the sense that the Limp Bizkit was kind of early on in that's that yelling for the sake of yelling, but I think Faith No More was probably
Well, that was
definitely
really my
earlier.
first introduction to something that sounded
Well,
like.
Faith No More also had more of a message than Bizkit did, and even Linkin Park. Linkin Park had more of a message than Bizkit. Bizkit was the low end of the
But
spectrum.
that's
Rage
part
Against
of
the
their
Machine.
appeal.
Rage was fantastic as well, 100%.
Still
They're
is.
right up there.
But Kirk, you're right. I think that pointless screaming for screaming's sake was their appeal. They were
Well, so if we look at them too, where they came from, just how they sort of like moved up the ranks. It's also fascinating just to me how many, like I knew Fred Durst was disliked by a lot of people in the industry. I didn't realize how many.
All of them.
More or less, almost anyone he came in contact with, it feels like, including people in his own group, as it seems to me. So you look at this guy, and the first thing you sort of notice is he looks angry and he's very short. As a short guy, I kind of get there. Point. I mean, I got a little bit of that Napoleon complex.
You wearing your white sunglasses?
I do not have any white sunglasses.
See, there you go. You're already 100% better than him, like right off the hop.
And I also do not have a red Yankees hat.
So you should. Wear it backwards, man.
I hate the fact I read an article the other day that says 40-year-old and higher shouldn't wear their hat backwards anymore.
Well,
hey, you know what the only thing a 40-year-old shouldn't wear? The weight of other people's expectations. Wear your hat backwards if you want to.
I think I shall. But I don't.
Wearing your hat backwards defeats the purpose of the hat.
Especially when you go like this to shade your eyes.
Yeah, it's like wearing cowboy boots for earmuffs.
I don't think it's quite the same.
You know what? Maybe he wants to shade the back of his neck so he doesn't turn into a redneck.
There's that.
See? Alternative purposing.
Don't defend these people, Andrea. They don't need your help.
You know what? We're not here to shame people for what they wear, unless
Except
they're
for Fred
Walmart
Durst.
looking like ridiculous, or Fred Durst.
So there's exceptions to this rule.
Okay.
There's exceptions to every rule.
Poor Fred. We're gonna get all the haters. All right. So
nobody likes Fred Durst.
Well, apparently enough people like Fred Durst.
I don't know him to hate him. He just looks like, as Andrew, what did you call it before we went on?
Backpfeifengesicht. This is a term that my German grandmother has for a face that needs to be slapped. If you don't agree with the translation, all you German-speaking people, I don't give a shit.
Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments.
Better than what my grandfather told me before I went to college. Any girl who's gonna fuck you will fuck anybody, so you better wear a rubber. Anyway,
that's some wow.
Yeah, that's actually
that's Groucho Marx level of any club that would have me as a member, I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, sadly that really did happen. But anywho, moving on.
Moving right along.
Just so from Florida, because of course, Florida man.
Florida man.
Google Florida man and your birthday. It's hilarious.
I will do that right after. People listening and watching, don't pause. Just keep this going and then do it after. Just make a mental note to do that. Discovered essentially by corn, it looked like.
Yep.
Blew my mind because
they had some weird things early on. When they were unsigned. And
their faith was the first thing I ever heard of them, which I'm sure.
So Fred Durst is actually a brilliant marketer, and he decided that he was going to just build underground popularity and crowd base. And he managed to, as an unsigned artist, who was the he managed to headline shows with signed artists as his opening acts, and I can't think of who the bands were now, but yeah, he in clubs, not in arena shows or anything, but he had such a following of well, devout fans that within, where the fuck was he? Tampa? No.
Oh,
In
Whatever.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville. Yeah, so within, you know, where his area, he
North
just had
Carolina
like
as well.
rabid crowds. And he kind of just built it up from there. So he wasn't really discovered by Corn.
Oh,
He
sorry, yeah,
was,
you're right. Korn is the one who heard their demo and then got it to their label. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
and then they
yeah,
also did the
but
Family Values tour and stuff like that.
that was later. But
Yeah,
they
we haven't got to
but
launch
yeah,
on that.
prior to even being signed by, like, he wasn't out soliciting labels. He was out soliciting fans and getting the fans to do the work by requesting his music and getting it played on radio stations and getting, so yeah, he was kind of a grassroots base
Which
that he
you
built
got to respect.
from. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As opposed to going around with your demo and begging record labels, he
Mhm.
was out there getting gigs and then getting bigger names to notice him, who then got them signed.
That might also tie in with why when it was the first thing that really got them any kind of attention, at least as a single, although I don't think it was released as a single, was their cover of Faith by George
Yeah.
Michael. And it sounded different.
Mm-hmm. And it's not terrible. And going back to this song itself, you have to admit that if somebody within earshot says Nookie,
Come on.
yeah, exactly. The first thing you're thinking is stick it up, yeah, you know. It's just it is ubiquitous in the cultural lexicon. Look at that. See, I touched two big words just now and a big word earlier. I have to go and lay down for a minute.
I can see smoke coming out of your ears. Don't hurt yourself.
Whew. So what's their appeal? And I think we kind of already know that answer. This song actually taps into it perfectly. It's relatable to a lot of young men.
Mm-hmm. It's angsty frat boy music.
Yeah. And you got to give him credit on this. It's earnest. This is a song based on his own personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
So Nookie is essentially like, basically, I'll sum it right up. Why did he put up with the bullshit of his girlfriend who cheated on him, took his money as he was starting to move up the ranks? Because this was off their second album. The first album didn't sell particularly well, but there was such a buzz, as you were both mentioning, about them after they got signed, and then they were doing this tour, that tour, that this debuted at #1, which is mind-blowing considering what they had done before, which wasn't much. Usually you work your way up to that, or you work with somebody with an established name. Like maybe George Michael, he could debut at #1 after being with Wham.
Yeah, but this one had like new metal in general was basically, I think, a combination of the anger of punk, the screaming guitars of I don't know, it's a type of metal. I'm not a huge metalhead, so I can't remember the exact type of metal that it would be. I was looking that up the other day and I've forgotten it now. And also you've usually got a turntablist in the mix as well. So you've got some of that hip hop thing going on. And so you take these three things and you put them together. And I think it was at the right time for this stew to work. Like there's really not many new metal bands out there, if any, that are still skating by. You know, you don't hear very much of it, if any of it, on the radio. You might hear it now in the grocery store because it's classic.
What's the radio?
Back in the day, songs used to travel through the air.
But yeah,
Now,
go ahead.
You said the album debuted at #1.
Yeah, the album debut. Yeah, this
Yeah,
album.
I was gonna say, because the song only made it to 80, I think.
Right. I think much higher on like the hard rock charts, but yeah, the album itself went #1 or debuted at #1. So very, very highly anticipated. And I guess to Brad's point, back in the radio days, you're not getting that played on a lot of stations. So and that still mattered in terms of charting. So that was something that couldn't really be done by a band like Limp Bizkit. When I was listening, because I listened to a lot of their catalog today, I get a lot of Kiss vibes. And
Yes.
Yeah, not necessarily for how they sound, but how the fans react to them. Kiss fans are devoted, and they don't really care what anyone else thinks. The critics don't like them. Same with Kiss. Kiss sings mostly about power and sex. Power and sex.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I was gonna say, if anything, they're like Insane Clown Posse without the makeup.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's something there. Just I do think.
I like the Kiss analogy though, because I mean, totally different genres, totally different sound, but very similar in the audience reception.
In the same demographic, essentially. Yeah, although I think maybe the Kiss fan, like, they're a little bit more fun and partying than these guys, or maybe just the parties changed.
Maybe.
Also too, because Gene and Paul never drank.
Well, I mean, in a Limp Bizkit concert that, it's probably going to be 9 out of 10 of the male attendees there are going to roofie your drink.
Well, my drink or Andrea's?
Yes. They're just walking around and they're fucking hitting every single drink.
That's how roofies work. They're not selective about whose drink they're putting it in. They're just putting it in any drink and hoping that something sticks.
Well, there's an analogy there, isn't there? The song itself, as I was listening back to it, lyrically, it's pretty juvenile. Yeah. I did enjoy the guitar work very much, though.
The whole arrangement of the song is tight.
Yeah. Inspired by an Italian porn, apparently.
Yes.
Brad, do you have more to add on Italian porn?
Bella.
As for Andrea and I, when we look at our German porn, it's just really shitty. You see? So it's shitty.
Yes, you didn't need to explain that.
It's good that you did, though, for our slower viewers and listeners.
Also, for the dog when he's here too.
Oh, well, probably best for the dog.
She'd probably enjoy that shitty porn.
That's true.
At least the shit part of it.
Boy, she'd really make a meal out of that.
Okay, yes, my dog still eats sometimes her own poo. Incidentally, you know what else she munches on? My wife's $800 Gucci glasses.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sure she was popular after that one.
That's gonna leave a mark. I'm surprised there's not just a Winnie-shaped stain on the wall.
Well, I saved her. Yes.
So yeah, we've got new metal popping up out of here. We've got Korn, we've got Limp Bizkit, of course, we've got Linkin Park. Those are the three biggies that I can remember, because I don't think Faith No More fits into the new metal.
I only brought that in because that was the first time I ever heard anything like this.
Yeah,
it's just in my own personal timeline. I think
you've got Rage Against the Machine is in there.
Yeah, but Rage isn't new metal, is it?
Well, there's a lot of elements there. I mean, I never considered lyrically they're not even remotely close, and I know that you can ask Tom Morello.
No, because Rage Against the Machine is smart.
They are a very cerebral band. Take that away from them. Fred Durst, I don't think, is a dummy.
Here we go. I got
I don't think he's dumb at all.
Bands here. So we got Linkin Park, Korn, Evanescence was considered new metal. POD, which was like God Rock, and I didn't know that it was God Rock until I found out later on. Because POD stands for Payable on Death, and anyway, it was all it was like Youth of the Nation and what have you was the one big hit. Deftones was considered new metal. Oh, Rage was too. System of a Down, Papa Roach, and Limp Bizkit.
Papa Roach. There's a band I haven't thought of in 20 years.
Cut my wife in 2 pizzas.
There you go.
This is my plastic fork.
Okay, so this song propels them. Video, any thoughts on it?
Yeah.
So the video apparently his whole idea for it was just that he thought it would be funny if like he's running through the city and like women are like following him, like 1, then 5, then 10, then 1,000, while his bandmates are just playing to a bunch of dudes. That was kind of the entire concept for the video, from what I
Okay,
understand.
but do you think for that, and I thought this when I was watching it, do you think maybe that was his fuck you, Debbie, to the ex that cheated on him? Like, look at me, I'm pulling all this tail.
You know what? I never thought of that, but I think absolutely. That's exactly what you would do. Look, I'll admit when I think I told you guys this before. I'm sure I did, probably on camera, when I heard my ex-wife's name on Fox News, which blew my mind. And then I sort of look her up and like, holy crap, I look way better than her. Fuck you.
Oh, you've said that a couple of times on cam.
Yeah, it feels so good.
I don't know. I think maybe they just segregated them because that was the only way to prevent the women from being sexually assaulted at a Limp Bizkit show.
That's fair.
That's actually not a bad segue. What did happen on a Limp Bizkit show in 1999? They played Trainwreck. If you haven't watched it and you have Netflix, I encourage everyone to go watch the 2-part documentary on Woodstock 99.
It's shocking. Even if you know the story, the footage is just shocking.
A big bucket of cringe for that whole thing.
Now, in Limp Bizkit's defense,
I'll be defending them a lot.
Women were being sexually assaulted all over that festival. Gang raped, sexually assaulted, just plain straight up solo raped. Like, it's just appalling what was going on. But
that's their demographic.
So other bands that were up on stage were actively telling the audience to calm the fuck down. They were literally seeing women who were crowd surfing get pulled down and groped and assaulted, and they were saying something, and they were trying to get the audience somewhat under control. When Limp Bizkit was up there, they were paying no attention to it. They were actively told to calm the audience down. So what they did was say, well, they're telling me to calm the energy down. Because people are getting hurt. So maybe don't hurt each other. But I don't think you should calm down. Like, so he was telling people,
one of the things that he said,
the crowd up.
I can't quote him verbatim, but he had said basically, the whole world is watching this, so let's give them a show.
He also literally said, he didn't try to calm them down. At one point, after they started ripping apart the walls, what was the song?
Break Stuff.
Tear it down. Break Stuff. And so after that, he's like, so we got all the negative energy out, so let's like ramp it up with the positive energy, which of course there was no positive energy in that crowd. And then afterwards, when people were like, what the fuck, you were not like, how could you not do something about these people being assaulted and punching each other out? And he literally said, well, you're 20 feet up above the crowd. You can't see anything going on down there.
Yeah, bullshit.
Entirely wrong, because every other band saw stuff going on and was trying to keep it under control.
Yeah, Woodstock 99 was an absolute clusterfuck, and it didn't help that the music was garbage there too.
Well, I don't know about that, but
there were a lot of great bands there.
But Bizkit was there. Isn't that like a net negative with Bizkit?
Okay, no. But let's be blunt or like honest. Most 1999.
Neither of those things I like.
Okay, summer of 1999, and this is again, you're trashing. This is your pick. Of course, I got a shitstorm for you next week.
Oh, I picked it because it's trash, dude.
Okay, fair enough.
How the hell was this a hit?
Okay. So, but the summer of 1999, this was their apex. So a lot of people were going there with them as their number one most wanted act. And before they were chanting their name, like during that. So
Yeah, there were a lot of people there and they were getting worked up at earlier shows. Like, who the fuck puts Alanis Morissette right before Limp Bizkit? Like, this is just, they did the scheduling of that entire weekend was fucked.
Yeah, there was meth involved.
It wasn't even just that. I mean, like they didn't have enough porta potties, so it literally stank to high heaven. Thousands
not
of
even.
people got,
You
like,
want to?
trench. Oh,
They were charging what would be the equivalent in today's dollars, starting the weekend, $7 per bottle of water. They had very, very little facilities to actually get water. The ground was highly contaminated with extremely toxic chemicals from years of it being an Air Force base. So the crowd, when they broke the water mains so that they could actually have more access to water, created mud puddles full of toxic mud that then seeped and mixed with all of the overflow from the outhouses. People were getting trench mouth, trench foot, E. coli, like every possible disease you can get from contaminated water, because there was also no shelter. It was 38 plus degrees. You're on concrete, so the heat is just compounding, not cooling off at night. And like 4 people died.
Yeah, Brad, why don't you like concerts? They asked me.
Yeah, that's not a good excuse.
No, I have a voice. I've never had trench mouth.
Neither have I, and I've been to many concerts.
Yeah,
Nor E. coli, nor trench foot.
that could be season 2 of my other show idea. Who has trench mouth?
you've been let me see here. You've been like viciously hungover.
I've been viciously hungover after hanging out at your house. That's not a concert.
Okay.
That's before the roofies.
Hey, listen, I don't have a set of white sunglasses, and there's no way I have never paid for sex. There's no way I'm paying for drugs to eventually get sex, because that to me is like the laziest prostitution thing ever.
Yeah, you also worked at a strip club for years, so I mean, like you had a bit more easy access than a lot of us.
No, I in my 3 years at the Paramount, shout out to the Paramount in New Westminster, I never slept with a stripper. Slept with, yes, only foreplay, with the one, and I just, partway through, I'm like, we'll calm this down, and anyway, but I did go home with glitter in what I had a Van Dyke at the time, glitter in my Van Dyke like goatee constantly, like to the point that you'd think that I gave cunnilingus to Tinkerbell every night that I worked there. It was unbelievable the amount of glitter, and I hate glitter. I hate glitter. I hate it. It's the herpes of the craft world. But every single night that I would work at the Paramount, I would have glitter in my beard or goatee or whatever, constantly.
I'm still, I can't, I had the visual of going down on Tinkerbell, and I kind of zoned out on everything after that. I'll admit.
Anyway, can we get back to Limp Bizkit?
Moving right along.
Yes, because Andrew would much rather talk about Fred Durst
than me going down on Tinkerbell.
Yes.
I don't think by much.
No, all I'm saying is just, DM me some pictures of you listeners in Tinkerbell wings, and you never know what might happen.
Andrew,
hey, come on, man! The dating sites do not work. YouTube has to be less of a cesspool, right?
It was Pornhub. I'm sure there's a type in Tinkerbell on that, see what happens.
Oh, I'm gonna have to change out some of my searches. It's gonna get weird tonight.
Don't you mean weirder?
Yes, I do.
I don't know if it can get much weirder than probably what's in his search history. So
best dating app idea ever. Here it is. No. Hear me out. It matches you based on your porn searches.
Didn't you say this before?
Yes, he says this regularly. So let's get back to Limp Bizkit.
Because nobody's made it for me yet, and I'm not smart enough to.
Why don't you make it? You need to approach some Silicon Valley tech nerds and propose it.
I'm not. Yeah, I could approach the Silicon Valley people, but I'm not near bright enough to make it.
No, that's why you need some tech
nerds. Nerds.
Considering we call our group the Nerdcast, wouldn't that still be us?
No, different nerds. That's why you have to specify tech nerds.
Yeah, tech nerds versus music nerds.
There's a
Ah,
lot of subcategory of nerds.
it's Limp
Yeah.
Bizkit didn't appeal to either of them.
There's drama nerds, there's band camp nerds.
Who's taking us away? Oh yeah.
All in all, though, they all did it for the Nookie. What?
The Nookie.
What?
So you can take that cookie and stick it up your.
Oh, for the cookie. What? The cookie.
You saw I did my job and sent you the
Oh, I
Muppet
saw that beforehand when I was doing my dive into there. And yes, Cookie Monster. I did it all for the cookie. Yes. Yes.
Jasper did it all for his treats.
The poopy.
No, that's Winnie. Winnie does that.
Ah.
You can follow those dogs at Jasper_the friendly corgi on Instagram. Might as well get the plug in if you're gonna
Well, might as well get the plug for the dog.
To this day, what is Durst doing? I didn't go that far into his.
Well, they're reunited.
for-
He produced quite a few movies. He's been doing a lot of music producing. He never stopped working. So like, it seems like we've got somebody who's very, very intelligent, but or just very, very well-rounded and knows how to do a lot of things to get himself over.
So what about the other members of the band?
I think they all sort of came back.
Yeah, because we focused on Durst, but I mean, what happened with the other guys? Because Durst is a douchebag. But what about okay? Durst in the '90s was a douchebag.
He's 52 now.
Yeah.
So you got to figure that he's, completely different, but he's had his, I think what I just blew my mind is, now granted this is Wikipedia, so, you take it with sort of a grain of salt here, but when he's got his own section of feuds, so Slipknot, Britney Spears,
Britney, Taproot, Creed, Placebo, Eminem, Shaggy Two Dope, Reznor and Manson, Puddle of Mudded.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
there's two D's on mud, so it is Puddle of Mudded.
so yeah, it's like people who get to know him don't like him for long. I don't know how else to put it when you get into this many feuds with this many people.
Mm-hmm. Although I have to admit, I do like Puddle of Mud. She fucking hates me.
I love that song.
That's
too.
a great song.
La la la.
Yeah, exactly. That one and like Scotty Doesn't Know. I could listen to those songs constantly.
There you go. Very relatable. And I think that's really the hit of this. It's relatable to a lot of people. Now, are they all necessarily angry white dudes? No.
No. Hey, I've been cheated on. I've been cheated on, didn't know it, and I didn't go back to her once I found out. But there have been women in my life who have been people who provide an excellent service, and you would do it all for the Nookie,
which he didn't pay for. He wants to make that very, very clear.
Well, in a roundabout way, he really did.
Oh. I guess we all do. Of course, not in my case. I'm a trophy husband.
That's true. But no, I mean, like there are those out there who have, you would do it all for the Nookie and then lose all self-respect later on.
And you have, Andrea. What
did you do it all for the Nookie, Andrea?
No.
Really?
No.
You've never gotten shagged so good that you went, well, I can look past all of these character flaws and deal with that.
No. I've been basically single for like 8 years now. Like, obviously not.
Okay, so let me have a look at your porn search and I'll find you the right guy.
Anyway.
What if it turns out to be Fred Durst?
Well, then I'm just going to tell her to grab her bag, pack some roofies, and head over to his place.
Just might as well roofing myself and
well,
get it
at least you know it's coming, right?
And yet the most known roofer would have been Dr. Huxtable. Go figure that one.
Ooh, yeah. That's the weird thing about that. You look back at like actors and stuff like that from the time, and you got like Ice Cube. You wouldn't have expected him to become like a modern celebrity, and then Dr. Huxtable winding up in prison. He would have been like, no, Ice Cube's going to prison, man. He's a motherfucking cop killer.
Yeah, but how many times has he played a cop?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ice-T has been a cop. Like
Ice-T has been
a cop killer. Ice Cube was fuck the police.
Fuck the police. I'm sorry, NWA. Yes, Ice-T was a cop killer.
You got your cold liquid things incorrect.
But then Vanilla Ice, on the other hand,
building houses as one would have expected.
Actually, in Vanilla, there's something that all three of them have in common. All three of them dabbled in new metal.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What did Vanilla Ice do?
Not very well, but he did.
No, because I mean, okay, I know you had Body Count.
Yeah.
And Body Count was kind of like new metal. It was
collaborated. Even on this album, Method Man collaborated on "End Together Now," which is probably my favorite song on this album, which I do like. I mean, like musically, I don't hate this. Lyrically, yeah, it's a little juvenile for my taste at this point, and maybe because I didn't grow up with it.
I came up with it because I mean you're younger than you, so I came up with it at about the same age, and I'm going to shame myself here a little bit. It did resonate because yes, there had been women in my life at that point in time where you're like, wow, she shags good, but everything else sucks.
See, I guess though for me it was the message I got that hit me more, maybe because it was just more playful, was self-esteem, Offspring.
Yes, exactly.
Also, a few years younger, and it's like, man, I really don't, because for a lot of the shit you tolerate. But anyway, do we have any final thoughts before I tell you what shitstorm you got next week?
Final thoughts. I hope Fred Durst gets syphilis and dies from it.
Wow.
That's a very strong feelings for someone you've never met.
No, I've never met him, but I mean, just the sheer douchebaggery of the Durst. I would be okay if he just,
wound up apologetic about this now.
Well, if he got up on his soapbox and he said, you know what, for 20 years of my life, I fucked up and I fucked up large and I'm sorry. And here's a bunch of money going towards places that organizations that bust places that make date rape drugs. Yeah, okay, great. But, then he'd alienate all of his fans.
Okay, we're not going to get a lot of positive comments on this one.
No, there's nothing positive.
I will say that I was in my late teens for Limp Bizkit. I didn't hate this song. I still don't hate this song. As you said, musically it's all right. I was at the right age for just like screaming along with it because it was catchy. Didn't really care about the lyrics, but
okay, but if you had to rate, if you had to rate the three big ones, Corn, Biscuit, and I just had it in my head and it's gone. What was the Corn, Biscuit, and Linkin Park? Where would you put Biscuit?
Two.
At the bottom.
Yeah, Biscuit is what you get when you go to Walmart and look for Linkin Park.
So I got them over Linkin Park personally.
Wish for you have them over Linkin Park.
Yeah.
And honestly, out of that whole list of them bands that you were charting off earlier, they're towards the bottom. I don't hate them. I don't necessarily agree with the ratings.
He doesn't hate them. La la la
la. But I do hate Fred Durst. I think Fred Durst is a piece of shit human. And therefore I give the song much lower ratings and don't have a whole lot of interest in listening to it because I don't want to give him any residuals.
No, that makes sense.
Even if it's like 0.000000001 of every time it's played, of a cent of every time it's played on Spotify, he doesn't need that fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a penny.
Yeah. No, agreed. Because I mean, like I gotta put, we gotta sit there with like Rage Against the Machine. System is a little bit lower, but I mean, you got Rage, you got Linkin Park, stuff like that. Absolutely. But I think
say something about Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
a few years ago when there was a bit of a resurgence with all the riots and stuff, and people were like playing Rage Against the Machine, and they're like, I can't believe, oh, Rage Against, they came out as being very political in support of Black Lives Matter and anti-government, and like, I can't believe that they are like sold out and they're like being all libtard leftist and
Oh, woke and
like,
shit.
what machine did you think they were raging against?
Transformers.
Like,
They're not.
come on.
For sure.
I don't know, Andrea. They're not exactly anti-government as they used to be.
No, but they used to be very anti-government.
Right.
But the dumbass teenage kids screaming rally round the family with a pocket full of shells had no idea what family they were talking about, and that it was a scathing comment on southern US and the KKK. Like,
Most people don't understand any of the music.
Well, that's the thing.
no, but that's what I'm saying is that
because it was angry.
it sounded like angry music, and therefore dumbass teenagers liked it without thinking about the political message. And then when they outright came out to be politically left, people are like, oh, I can't believe that they're so woke and left. And it's like, this is
Okay, I see
who
what
they've
you're
always been.
Mhm.
That's all. Anyways, back to final thoughts from you, Kirk.
I guess it's funny. I wasn't really looking forward to this. I messaged the group. I don't know what I really have.
You had stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess I had more. I thought about it more after I said that. So I was looking into it more. Just and I guess it's where I came up with my analogy, because this is a band that didn't speak to me, and I've always wondered why. Like, did I just age out too much? Because I wasn't that much older.
No,
No,
you're
I
pretty
think
much
it was.
you're like a year younger than Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it was anything to do with that. I just think that their music didn't speak to you at all. You know, were you an angry young man at that time when they first came out? Were you experiencing those feelings? It's like
Years before.
I had a conversation on Reddit. I had an actual conversation on Reddit not too long ago, where somebody had said, "How come I can't get into this band?" I'm like, maybe they don't speak to you. And I said, "Hey, I'm like that with country. Country does not speak to me at all. I'm not a honky tonker. I'm not a farmer. My wife didn't leave and take all my stuff. You know, there's all this stuff that, you know, the country message doesn't resonate with me, and therefore I don't enjoy it. So in the same way, maybe, you know, Biscuit's message didn't resonate with you, and therefore you didn't enjoy it.
There you go. Well, here's something I definitely do not enjoy that has a very positive message. No, Brad, I'm not going to make you listen to disco because you don't want to.
Well, I'll do it for the show, Kirk. I have taken many bullets for this show.
Well, then but we've never said anything about disco polka.
What the actual fuck? Andrea got way too excited, and I don't know what's going on.
You know what it is?
No. What? What is it, Andrea?
Let's see if you got it.
It's not Boney M, is it?
No. Okay. I heard this song. This is where I got inspired on another show that I do, where this was played in the halftime show done by the Mouseketeers and the Disney crew and whatnot. We are going to go.
Andrea, who is this?
Well, we are going to go we're going to go to the Netherlands. And hey, Brad, did you ever see the movie Reservoir Dogs?
Of course.
All right. Remember the opening song during the crawl?
No, not offhand. It's been a few years.
All right. So it's by a band called the George Baker Selection, and it's called Little Green Bag.
That's not disco.
No, it's not. But their other hit is Una Paloma Blanca. I am a bird in the sky.
The what?
You never heard this? Well, you're going to.
No, I don't think so.
I have not heard this. I didn't know what you were talking about, but I am very excited about how.
Well, did you think it was a different song?
No, I just was really excited about the concept of disco polka.
Yeah, you said disco polka, and Andrea ruined her.
It looked like you knew exactly where I was going with that. So I think it'll be an interesting trail to see how they went from this funky song that Tarantino used in his real coming out.
Yeah, Little Green Bag is kind of funky. It's
Right.
a bit, bluesy almost, and a little bit,
This is not.
okay. You're gonna have to put this one in the chat because I can't spell it, so I'm not putting it in there.
Okay. And I'll also sort of send in the chat because it was also covered by the Great Hoff
The Hoff.
in front of like 10,000 happy people.
Wait, hang on.
The Germans love their Hoff.
Back up from the mic for this one.
I'm assuming that was in Germany. I don't know where else it
was. David
know.
Hasselhoff doing "Do." D-U. That's the song name of the song.
I just like David Hasselhoff singing Jump in My Car. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It's just awful and so great. It features Kit.
Well, as it should. He's gonna talk about a car.
It's called Rock and Roll, Kit. Michael, what is this infernal racket you're listening to? I don't know why Kit was such a snob.
Wasn't he played? Well, he was voiced by the same guy who was the guy from Magnum PI.
No, he was voiced by, I forget the name of the actor. I want to say William Daniels, but he was in St. Elsewhere and Boy Meets World.
Well then.
Thank you.
It's voice William Daniels, yeah, and yeah, there we go.
Hey, so I've got a question, Kirk. Do you know anyone who wrote a book? Maybe a book about wrestling?
I wrote a book.
Oh, what was your book about?
It was just a list of the people that I'd slept with.
How many pages?
Couple.
Okay. Big print?
They were triple spaced. and the book was only 3x2.
Dear diary. Next page.
Other dimensions are 3x2. Anyway.
Accurate.
Anyway, how about you tell us about your book, Kirk?
Yeah, you can get that on Amazon. It's about the late great Chavo Guerrero Sr. And I helped him write his autobiography before he passed away. So Chavo Guerrero, instant classic. Check that out. Lots of other podcasts here in the Buchnerverse.
Before you skate over top of your book here, though, yeah, we have to talk about the fact that it would make a great Labor Day gift, which is coming up September 4th.
Absolutely.
You got to get those Labor Day gifts. You got to plan them early.
Early, because I mean that, or you have to wait till Halloween then.
Also, great. Think about how the kids would love getting this book in their trick or treat bags.
100%.
Not only that, you can do that while wearing a lucha mask. And in the book, one of the things that Chavo did.
There's also, if you want to take your time and order in a week or two, you can order it in for Thanksgiving.
We left that out because he didn't want to put that in there. What he did.
That's Canadian Thanksgiving.
It's Canadian Thanksgiving. It's a good Thanksgiving. You can have 2 Thanksgivings. You can celebrate the Canadian Thanksgiving.
2 turkeys. I like it. But there's other shows that I do here in the Buchnerverse. There we go. Wow, someone's paying attention. I like that.
I'm there for you.
I appreciate
Andrea's texting her Tinder date.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm just arranging pet sitting.
Well, or maybe it is on Tinder and someone's gonna Una Paluma your Blanca. No?
That's not right. You could have maybe just said somebody's gonna you get kitty sad.
Okay, I guess you don't know what it means.
Oompa Loompa Blanca. Well, Oompa Loompas are little orange dudes, and Blanca is white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One white bird.
Like this?
No.
Oh.
God, when I'm the mature one, this is not good.
Well, honestly, when you're in a virtual room with Brad, it's a toss-up of which one of you is going to be more mature.
Yes, but if I'm ever the smartest one in this virtual room, we're in trouble.
For I'm the soberest.
There's that.
I might today because I haven't had anything. Anywho,
moving right along.
Yes, I also do other shows. the one that inspired me to do this because it was part of the halftime show. It's the retro football show. We're just recording a whole pile of them this over the summer, and then eventually they'll all come up. So Super Bowl 7, 9, 10, and 11 will all be coming up soon, and we're going to record Super Bowl 12 next week. Yeah.
Did you see that ludicrous display?
Yes, that ludicrous display. All right,
wait, ludicrous was at Super Bowl 12?
Might have been one of the. It might have been a side part of one of a halftime show. I'm not sure. Actually, what is he doing now?
Ludicrous? I don't know. He's probably lost his
producing.
mind. He's up in here.
He's somewhere. He's hanging out with Nelly. Just man, I hope people are listening.
Oh, and 50 Cent.
50 Cent's doing an arena tour.
Really?
So Christopher Brian Bridges, currently today, upcoming 10th studio album and Karma's World. Ludacris was going to headline in December 22 her Janet Jackson's Together Again tour.
But he headlines it or he's supporting it?
He was going to headline it.
Then why is it Janet Jackson tour? Isn't that her tour?
Well, it's Janet Jackson's Together Again tour, and he's the headliner. So headliner comes on first. Like you got opener, headliner, then Janet Jackson.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
He's been married. He's got. He was thinking about.
Anyway,
yeah,
he's touring or like actually still doing music shit.
he's
All
doing
right,
shit.
There you go. I was just sort of mildly curious. So look for that soon. Also, there's the Classic Sports Review with the greatest intercontinental triathlete of all time, Glenn Pulowski. We've recorded a couple shows where we did our. That'll come out soon. The recent one was the 1994 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, where we played the game. How many do we have more steroid users or wife abusers?
It was steroid users by a pubic hair.
Well, if you said by one, well, I'll give it to you, sure, because it was by 5-4. Some were both. And it was one more.
You said it was one. You did.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still count them both if you did both.
Oh,
Yeah, someone doubled up.
well, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's just what we know about. I'll tell you about another baseball player because I'm not going to use that now. He's in big trouble. But
How about you tell us about some of your Hall of Fame shows?
I have those too.
You do not.
Too. There's the weekend.
Holy crap.
That I do with Evan Nolan. And he's going to be a guest actually on the next show that we do with the Classic Sports Review, where we're going to look at Man versus Beast. It's not really sports, but we're going to have fun with that. There's actually a show called Man versus Beast.
I remember Manimal.
I actually did.
You already do Manimal.
I did Manimal on a now defunct show, but you can look at all those ones I used to do with Chris Burnett, who now is too busy to do them with me, unfortunately.
Hey, man, Manimal was great, and there's nothing wrong with going through the back catalog and checking out the good shit.
Yeah,
like Manimal.
Yeah, that was this crap was on national television because you know the question about that.
Surprised you guys ever didn't do Misfits of Science.
I don't know if it ever came up.
Or Automan.
I looked at that one, but I think that when I looked at that one, Misfits and Manimal, they all sort of like blended together. Also, and we also did Powers of Matthew Starr.
Oh yeah, that was brief, wasn't it?
That was yeah. Oh, with the where they just promoted everything's with Lou Gossett Jr. because Officer and Gentleman just came out. And
my favorite Lou Gossett Jr. movie ever has to be Enemy Mine.
Interesting. He was playing an older guy like right from the start. You can look at him in old episodes of Good Times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's going to, but he couldn't have been that old back then.
Yeah, but he just looked older early. So sometimes that happens. Also, there's the Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame case for. He'll make Halls of Fame cases for various people. He just
what was the last thing?
That was on Al Wistert.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, a former tackle in the 1940s. You might remember him for his work with the 1947 to 1948 NFL Championship Eagles.
Well, I mean, how could you forget?
How can you?
what I'm asking.
There you go. So with that, I bring the show.
Oh, don't close yet. I had an idea as to how we can boost our ratings.
Keep your clothes on, Brad.
Damn it. I was just gonna say we should do it topless next time. It's hot as like balls in here right now, and I bought an air conditioner.
For some of the people who might want to see that, they're going to be turned off when I whip out my man tits, especially considering how hairy they are.
Listen, dude, if you can lick your own, there's going to be an OnlyFans for that.
I'm gonna try that later.
Mine are too small. I can't quite get that. That and with the paddleboarding, they firmed up a little bit. Like I got them hanging high and tight here a little bit. It's kind of nice.
All right, hold that thought. We'll be right back.
All right,
Talk amongst yourselves.
get the whipped cream.
I'm concerned about where he's going.
Oh, he's going to check out the fridge for the whipped cream. Also, pro tip: if you're gonna have sex with whipped cream, make sure it's not the non-dairy stuff.
I'm not even close.
Okay.
What did you think I was going to do? I might as well just do it now since everyone knows I'm going to do it anyway. So
listen, all of us have tried to lick our own genitals. At least the males here have.
I have not.
All of us.
I have not.
You're telling me there wasn't one night as a 13-year-old boy that you didn't walk your feet down the wall just a little bit, see how close you get your own pecker?
I can honestly tell you, no, I did not.
Holy shit. Freak.
Yes, I'm the freak here.
Okay, get in the comments because holy shit, most of us have tried, I swear.
I have not.
I think it's well established that Bradley is the freak here, and happily admits it. So, on that note, let's stop talking about
Really just anything
autoerotic
at this point.
something. We just need to stop.
Ooh,
Just
David
stop.
Carradine? What?
I could go on and on about just David Carradine. Anyhow, I'm not. I am not.
So how about good night, everybody?
Yeah, let's do that. Wherever you are, wherever you may be. And it's probably better conversation than what we just did. But stay safe, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.